What's up, everybody? Thanks for joining me on these analysis. We're going to be looking at Coinbase. As you can see, we have our nice trend that's been established. We found our bounce here, broke back up, found another bounce off this key level of support in this trend line, and we pushed to the top of the range. We were saying that once we make it to the top of this range, that we could find some kind of level of resistance, as we saw at one time here in confluence with this horizontal level of support and resistance. And then we saw it again up here. We kind of came to the conclusion that maybe if we touch it a third time, we could see some kind of downturn. And that's exactly what we ended up getting on Coinbase. As you can see, once we made it to the top off of this local high here, we pushed down almost 30%, just about 30% so far, which is a pretty significant drop after such a major move up. You can see we did push up a total of 215% in a span of a couple months, which is pretty insane. So in a 3-month span, you pushed up 200%. That's absolutely insane. Hopefully you guys were able to take advantage of that, and hopefully you can take advantage of this dip. I still think Coinbase is a good opportunity long term. Our inverse head and shoulders did actually play out as we spoke of. We had the left shoulder here, the head, and the right shoulder, and that was calling for higher targets. Looks like we somewhat got that. We'll see if the trend continues, though. We still have more to see, and I think Bitcoin isn't done for this cycle, and I think crypto still has some more to move up. I don't think the cycle is over just yet, so I would imagine that Coinbase could continue this trend. And if you take a look here at this level on a fib, we're actually just right at the 0.5 of the 618, which is a magnet for price. That's the key reversal level because that's a 50% retracement of this leg. So hopefully we find a bounce and a continuation to the upside. If we do lose that level, then you can start talking about touching this key level of support here at around 286 to 280 and this midline as well. So we also have this midline that slices through price here that's been acting as support and resistance. So that'll be a key level that we need to keep our eye on as well. As you can see here, if we come down here, we would more than likely find a bounce. If we pull a fib even lower, all the way down to 142, you can see that we're just underneath the 382, but we're still holding our 0.5 to the 618. But that also coincides with that key level of support right here in the middle. So that's a lot of support for price. When you think about it, you have this major golden zone, a 0.5 to 618, which is a magnet for price and a key level for a bounce. You have this key level of support. You also have this upward sloping trend line at the same time. So that's a lot of confluence together to find some kind of bounce. If we were to make it down to this level, the likelihood of us reversing is pretty high, or at least chopping temporarily before making some kind of decision. Overall, the trend has been pretty insane. We've been pushing up pretty hard. It looks like we kind of broke that trend line, so we could be finding some kind of bounce off of here. Maybe we push up and continue to move down to complete that move that we're talking about to the 0.5 for this entire leg, and then maybe we make our way back to the top of the channel. Of course, everything's subject to change. When we look at the weekly SMA, you can see that the 20 has pushed above the 50. Last time we saw the 20 push above the 50 was way back here, and that was a very significant move to the upside. You can see from this point on, we made a move of around 400%, 366 to be exact. I'm not saying that that's going to happen, but as you can see from this point where we got the actual cross, we only pushed up 27%. So maybe there's a little more upside to Coinbase than we think. We'll see, of course. I'm not saying that we're going to gain 366%, but just be aware of that. And on the daily, you can see we have a major gap here that maybe we actually go back to fill, but we also do have a gap way down here that maybe we end up filling, but we'd have to break through the 200-day, which is a key level. Also, we are underneath our 50, so that's going to be a key resistance zone right now that could continue price down further. But if we can reclaim this, it's going to increase the likelihood of us filling this gap and making it back to this 20 and then kind of making a decision from there. And we could potentially be seeing some kind of head and shoulders being formed As you can see, the left shoulder, you have the head. And if we form a right shoulder, then that could continue the momentum to the downside. When we look at the daily Bollinger Bands, you can see that we actually found resistance right off the top band, and now we're actually outside of the green band. We don't spend too much time outside of the bands, so there's more than likely a strong chance that we actually push back into the zone and potentially back to the blue band. On the weekly EMA, we have fallen underneath it, so that's going to increase the likelihood of us bouncing off of here and pushing down further, as this usually holds our trends intact pretty well. And you can see here on the daily that we gapped down, so we do revert to the mean a lot of the time, so I could see us getting some kind of move back up. And as we go back up, maybe we fill this gap before continuing down. Of course, it's all subject to change based off of Bitcoin and what Bitcoin's behavior is looking like. Bitcoin is going to be the ultimate deciding factor. Here on the weekly, you can see that we did break our trend. We had a nice trend established. We broke underneath it and we fell underneath our moving average. So we'll see if we can reclaim that and continue the trend higher and get back to overbought territory. Here on the daily, we had a freaking fall off of a cliff. You can see that very aggressive fall off, and you can see that there was major divergence. So price was increasing there, and you can see strength on the RSI was decreasing at the same time. You can see that. That's always a red flag when you see price continuing up, but the RSI is creating lower highs. So that was a warning sign right there, and then we ended up getting our fall off. So that warning sign going into a key level of resistance at the top of a channel is, it's almost like guaranteed to happen, but nothing's ever 100%. And now we are hovering slightly above oversold territory, so we'll see if we can get a V-shaped recovery and continue back higher. On the weekly MACD, we're in overbought territory. We're still holding pretty high, but we do have the volume decreasing pretty significantly, and we haven't seen a very hard drop on the MACD, but price has seen a pretty significant drop. So we'll see if it can continue up higher, or if this thing starts to roll over and then we end up getting a red flip like we've seen over here. And on the daily, we're still in bullish territory, but it is increasingly becoming bearish. As you can see, the momentum is trending to the, downside. So it's increasing in volume to the downside, increasing the bearish volume. So that's not the best sign, but I still think it's not out of the ordinary to see some kind of retracement like that after a 200% move in a 3-month period. So I don't think it's anything to be too concerned about. We'll see where price takes us. When you look at this fib here, you can see that the 1618 could be a key level of resistance if we make it up there to the 473 level. And we did find resistance off of this 1272 level at around 405. And that's pulling it off of this leg here and flipping the fib. So those are two levels that you kind of would be looking at. And we've already found one level of rejection there. So we'll see once we come back if we can break it, or if we get rejected and have some kind of double top to the downside. Like I said, it's all going to be, following Bitcoin's move. So whatever Bitcoin's doing and crypto in general, then Coinbase will be doing. But if you're bullish on crypto in general and the future of crypto, and you dollar cost average into Coinbase over 5, 10, 15 years, then this should be a pretty solid play for you, not financial advice. Make sure you guys drop a like and subscribe if you guys enjoy videos like this. It always helps the algorithm and it helps me out. And it shows that you appreciate these videos. And I appreciate all of your support and taking your time to watch these videos. As always, I'll see you guys in the next one.